Oh, hey everybody! Let's start this new year off with a bang and inappropriate gun puns. Earlier this week, President Obama introduced a White House initiative to tighten gun control in the United States because, in case you hadn't heard, in 2015 alone, more than 460 Americans died in mass shootings. Not to mention all of the unintentional deaths regularly caused by guns in the home and on the streets. Celebratory gunfire! It kills people. And if you're watching this outside the United States, I cannot underscore enough to you how much we Americans take our Second Amendment right to bear arms so seriously. And guns are an issue that I haven't really talked about on Stuff Mom Never Told You, which is a little surprising considering how pro-gun groups like the National Rifle Association often contend that guns are good for women. Except on their periods, am I right? Everyone will die. In all seriousness, there is an understandable argument that women could be safer if they were packing heat because of things like physical strength differences that tend to occur between men and women. There's an idea that, oh, well, women can arm themselves and that can make up for that strength gap, right? Especially when it comes to things like sexual assault. This comes up all the time. Executive Vice President of the National Rifle Association, Wayne LaPierre, once said in a speech a couple years ago that, quote, "The one thing a violent rapist deserves to face is a good woman with a gun." And that kind of language comes up in pro-gun legislation as well. In 2013, Nevada introduced something called Amanda's Law, which would allow guns on college campuses. And it was named for Amanda Collins, who testified before the state legislature that she was raped on her college campus and her assailant had a gun, and she herself had a concealed carry permit, but she did not have her gun because it wasn't allowed on campus. And if she had been allowed to have that gun on campus, the rape never would have happened because she would have shot the guy. And that's a similar argument made by people like Paxton Quigley, who wrote an entire book encouraging women to arm themselves because a good friend of hers was raped, and she thinks that if she had had a gun, that never would have happened. The thing is, especially when we talk about guns protecting women from sexual assault, it doesn't seem like a surefire solution, because first of all, that's pointing the responsibility in the wrong direction, putting the onus on the victim to arm herself in order to prevent her own assault rather than stopping rapists from raping. If every woman walked around with a gun and someone was raped, then what we're gonna say, oh, well, why didn't you just pull out your gun and shoot the person? Not to mention that whole argument perpetuates the misconception of stranger danger rape. A majority of sexual assault victims know the perpetrator. Whether we're talking about sexual assault or not, guns aren't used as tools of self-defense as often as you might think. This was coming from Dr. Deborah Asriel, who works for Harvard's Youth Violence Prevention Center, who was talking about how what we do know is that when guns are around, homicides, suicides, and unintentional deaths go up. A 2009 study from the University of Pennsylvania found that people in possession of guns were 4.5 times likelier to get shot in an assault than people who didn't have a gun on them. What's really, really challenging to tease apart is how many of those homicides would have been prevented had the other person, a woman in our conversational case, had a gun. More than twice the number of women are killed either by their husbands or intimate partners with guns versus being killed by strangers with guns, knives, or any other kind of weapon. Statistics also show that women are likelier to be threatened by the gun that they own in their home rather than use it as self-defense. This isn't just about women's safety either. In a lot of those cases, if a husband or an intimate partner murders his wife or girlfriend, he often turns the gun on himself. Clearly, there are maybe mental health and domestic violence issues afoot that go far deeper than just a trip to the gun store. And if we're talking about situations on college campuses, alcohol is often involved, friends and acquaintances are often involved, and you throw a gun into that mix, and I have a feeling that gun advocates watching this video are ready to trot out a zillion arguments and even statistics as to why guns ultimately make us safer, but the data that I've read suggests the opposite. Now I want to know from you listeners. And hey, since this is a brand new year of Ask Cristen, I want to know all of your brand new questions so I can give you some answers. It might be brand new, it might be kind of old and stale.